Still on politics, an IRS whistleblower claims the Biden administration mishandled the investigation of Hunter Biden. The whistleblower says the probe failed to mitigate clear conflicts of interest. Senate Minority Whip Senator John Thune joins us now, Republican, South Dakota. Mr. Senator, the whistleblower has receipts, actual physical receipts to prove there was a cover-up. So are we now going to get some action?
Let's hope so, Stuart. It's another example the IRS is a mess. And what is the Biden administration solution for that? Give me 87,000 new employees. They'll have more employees in 2025, 5 times more employees than Border Patrol. And of course, all of it's going to be about enforcement. Right now, for every IRS employee that works in enforcement, there's 2 that work, or I should say there's 2 in enforcement, and for every 1 that work in tax services. By 2025, that'll be 14 in enforcement, 1 for taxpayer services. So they're forgetting that they're a taxpayer service organization. But nonetheless, yeah, this is another example. And that's why it's important to have oversight. And I'm glad the House of Representatives has a majority there, because this whistleblower ought to be heard. And hopefully the House, through their oversight activities, can get the information that they need to proceed with this investigation in a way that brings about justice and accountability.
Mr. Senator, you delivered a speech in support of the Restrict Act. So am I right in saying you want to ban TikTok? How far are you prepared to go with this? I mean, you ban it outright for everybody?
That's the big question. I'm willing to go that far, but I think what we need is a process that leads us to that conclusion. Our legislation codifies a Trump administration executive order, which they attempted to use to ban TikTok, but it was thrown out by the courts because you can't identify a single company or individual or group under the Constitution. You get in violation of a bill of attainder issue. So you need to have an orderly, rules-based, risk-based process to do that, and our legislation allows that to happen. But it's basically based on the Trump executive order. It codifies that executive order and allows, the intelligence community working with others to determine whether or not any of these platforms or apps or technologies that come in from China, and by the way, the 4 most downloaded apps last year in the United States were Chinese owned, to determine whether or not those are national security risks.
If you did ban TikTok completely, you're going to annoy royally a lot of people who run their small businesses on TikTok, because TikTok actually works better than some of the other platforms. That's a political risk, isn't it? Annoying small business owners?
Well, there's a I don't know how we let this get to where we have 150 million TikTok users in the United States, but these people are very creative. They're entrepreneurs. They'll figure out another way to distribute, to market their products. But I think the thing they need to know is that the Chinese Communist Party has access to their information. And ByteDance, which is the parent company to TikTok, is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the CCP. And so they're harvesting information, individual information on people in this country who are users of TikTok. And we think that represents a national security risk. But again, you have to have a process that gets you to that conclusion. And maybe we'll conclude that instead of banning or blocking it, it ought to be mitigated in some way. But I think we need to have measures in place that allow us to at least find out or determine whether or not these companies represent national security risks.
Senator John Thune, thank you very much for being with us. Always appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thanks, Stuart.